to him in February when he's usually down at Fort Myers for the month, watching spring training with the Red Sox. We're all up here shivering and shoveling snow, and see how much he enjoys it when he's thinking about those December games in Buffalo as opposed to those February games in Fort Myers.
Well, the only thing I will say, if there's a consolation there, is even if he has to go to Buffalo in chilly December, at least he'll be on the press box. I mean, the press box is usually pretty warm. But I know what you're saying, though. That whole month down in.
He had a whole month.
Although
down there.
I think, this year we had him in studio because he was only down in Florida for about 10 days. We were fortunate enough to get him in before the season. Usually, try to get him in here in late March is.
He was there early February, like middle of February,
that's what it was.
middle
He was
of
there
March.
before,
he was,
right?
Yeah, before. So,
but I mean, the bigger papers, they keep the guys down there for 6 weeks.
Well, they actually rotate a lot of them.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys rotate, just like the TV guys do. And he does. They go down for a couple of weeks and they come back. But, and that's what he was.
Well, and another former guest we've had on this show, Chris Smith, writer for the Red Sox. He's from MassLive.com, and he works with a Chris Cotillo. They're cornering the market on Chris's writers named Chris. All very talented too. So congrats to your nephew. Hopefully we'll get him back on. You can follow him at by Chris Mason, I think is his moniker there on Twitter, his handle. You can check that out too. So while we're talking about the Patriots, of course, football, there was a little bit of breaking news this afternoon. We actually do have a photo of this. One of the few photos we're going to show you tonight because my thumb drive got a little fried or something happened to it. And so we're kind of recycling some old file photos here from the past. How well do you know the timeout picture, these photos? Anyway, that was Josh Gordon from a little bit earlier in the year when he was healthy and on the field. Late news this afternoon is that the Patriots placed him on injured reserve, and with him being an impending free agent at the end of the season, and with the fact that the Patriots can only bring back one other player off of IR this season, and it's probably going to be Isaiah Wynn, it appears that Josh Gordon's career as a Patriot is likely over. But there's probably a lot more to this story, too, because he was seen out at practice today with new teammate Mohamed Sanu, who I would have a photo of, except my thumb drive got fried. You don't need to hear that again. But anyway, so I'll have to do thumb drive next month. Anyway.
So confusing.
Something's going on here. He was out there. There was actually a photo. I actually retweeted a photo. A Nesson reporter had a picture of Sanu and Gordon together. And I don't know what the whole story here. There's more to this than meets the eye, and it's kind of too bad too because
because it was a feel-good story. You felt good. You're glad. I mean, he's had his ups and downs, and then what happened last year, and then they brought him back, and it looked like he had turned the corner, and he was really getting involved and talking in interviews, and
then after the Antonio Brown debacle and how badly that went.
And it's like a team that's always suffering for receivers. I mean, and here's a guy that does have world-class talent. To all of a sudden there's something more to this, and I'm kind of disappointed, but I want to see what the end story is because they can't just have given up on the fact that you can't say the guy doesn't have talent and why are they letting him go. And if he thinks he can still play, he doesn't feel that he's that injured, and they're putting him on permanent injured reserve. What's going on?
Well, I think I feel like he's been not running at full speed. So they might. That's why I think there was a knee. It's his knee or something, and that makes sense. I hope it's his knee. I just don't want it to have him have a relapse. I mean, that's the
which is the first
that's
thing
the big story. So.
But they stuck with him last year when he had the relapse and through the whole off season and brought him back and willing to bring him back. Part of it, I guess, is he still was under contract, but still.
But everyone was reaching out to him. They were more concerned with him as a person, not as a football player. There just seemed to be a lot of love there. I mean, as far as bringing him along and keeping him motivated and stuff, but this is just turning out real weird. Like I said, especially for a team, if Brown was still there and they have all these other receivers, but I mean, a couple of weeks ago they were playing with two rookies in there. So you can't go from taking a guy like I said that's got the talent of Gordon to say we don't need him when they're always scratching for a receiver, especially someone with some talent.
Right, but it sounds like N'Keal Harry's going to be coming back soon. So I don't think he can come back this week, but I think he's eligible next week, and hopefully he can. So if he comes back in Sanu, Well, that's, you know.
Yeah, he's got to build that whole trust thing. I'm getting kind of tired of hearing I'm getting tired of hearing about this trust thing.
Speaking of that,
throw the ball to these guys, will you?
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. You know, Patriot rookie receivers most of the time don't make an impact immediately. We have, though, seen some progress with Brady and Jacoby Myers over the last couple games. I think he has like 8 catches in the last 2 weeks. Now, if N'Keal Harry can get up to that pace within like a month or so, I mean, I think that's seems realistic. I mean, certainly Harry is a big target. He's got some talent, so I think if he and Brady can get on the same page,
he made some nice catches. He made some nice catches in the preseason. I mean,
from the little we saw him before he got hurt.
So I mean, but what you saw, you could see that the guy does have some talent. So he's got some speed. He's got good hands. So there's a lot of hope for for him. But coming in the middle of the season, it's not the ideal way to come in.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it'll be one of these things where he'll practice and he'll play, and if he can't do it, he just won't play in the playoffs, right? So it's not like if he can play or can add, I don't think they're expecting big things from him, but I think they're going to hope. The Patriots will hope that he contributes.
So that goes back to why are they getting rid of a Gordon if he's not hurt?
I think it's his knee. I think he's hurt.
Yeah.
I think he's hurt enough where he can't play.
And I buy that, but I don't get all this talk about, I think he was hurt, but this talk, supposedly he said he felt like he thought he could play this week. And then this talk that...
And why were there stories even out today as he was going on IR, right? There were other people tweeting out that... Other Patriots reporters were tweeting out things like, oh, he's fine, I saw him on the treadmill today, and
then they were saying
that,
the Pats might buy him out so that he can go to another team and everything. So that doesn't jive with the... He's hurt. I thought he was hurt, too. I mean, I saw how his knee bent. I mean, it didn't look pretty. But... on one hand, you're hearing that, he could end up going to another team, and he thinks he could have played this week to, they're letting him go because of injuries. I don't know. And I'm sorry, because I think you're right. It all goes back to, was there a relapse that we don't know about? And they're just kind of trying to wash it.
I don't, I think we'll know if it's a relapse or not if he gets let go and nobody picks him up. But if the Patriots keep him on IR for the whole year, then maybe he did have a relapse. And then they're hiding it. That would be a way to hide it. Just say he's on the IR. He's IR, whatever, and whatever. Because if they let him go and nobody picks him up, then he would have probably relapsed. I would think. Right?
Yeah, but if they put him on,
the Patriots might have dropped him today.
Yeah, if they put him on IR, if they put him on IR, then they have to pay him. Or buy him out.
I don't think they. It's just money.
But another part of this too is that there's less than a week where the Patriots can actually control the narrative with guys like a Josh Gordon and a Michael Bennett, 2 guys who don't seem to really have a place on this team right now. And I think if either of them have something left in the tank, which you might think Belichick may think that they do, because otherwise he would just cut them loose and not care where they sign. But from now until next Tuesday's trading deadline, Belichick might be trying to see if he can, probably not swing any kind of a deal for Gordon, because Gordon would have to prove he's healthy. There's not enough time for that. But Bennett, I mean, certainly in the time he has played, I mean, he's not hurt, so he could help a team, and maybe Belichick would look to try to deal him. Plus, of course, the Patriots spent a draft pick to get Mohamed Sanu here from Atlanta, so they might want to, Belichick, how he is with draft picks. He loves he's like a squirrel with the nuts. He likes to gather them. So he probably wants to recoup that pick if he can.
Oh yeah, he wants that second round back.
And with Bennett not having a place on this team, I think ultimately the Patriots have sort of morphed now back into, I mean, when Belichick was first here, they were a 3-4, and then I think the talent kind of changed, and so did the league for that matter. Everyone kind of went more to the 4-3, and that was sort of about the time when, of course, once Vince Wilfork retired, they didn't have that nose tackle to lead up front anymore, so they kind of, went to that themselves. But now they're back in the 3-4, and Bennett's more of a 4-3 kind of an edge rusher, and that's why his snap count just seems to be way down, because look at the way this defense is playing. I mean, that's been the story here these first 7 weeks. They're 7-0. They're playing great. They do lead the league in points scored. They do lead the league in points differential. But the real story about this team, bar none, has been the defense and the way they've played. They've allowed 3 offensive touchdowns in 7 games. Let that sink in for a minute. They've only allowed 6 total touchdowns on the year.
Right.
But only 3 were given up by the defense. I mean, that is incredible. I mean, they're on a pace to, you can rank them up there with all of the, the top defenses.
The 85 Bears?
Yeah. Now, I mean, that team to me is always going to be sort of a benchmark because they were just so physical. And I think the way the game has changed now, you're not allowed to be that physical. Like, if the 85 Bears played right now, they'd be getting penalized left and right and told they couldn't do that. Well, and maybe they wouldn't be as good either.
Well, the thing about the Bears defense and the Ravens defense was like you go into the game, you cannot run the ball. And teams are trying to run the ball. Nowadays, people want to pass the ball. So the Bears defense just won't be that good. The weakest position on those Bears defense were the cornerbacks. So what they would do is you'd waste 40, 35 rushing attempts against that defense, and then you'd throw the ball on 3rd and 10. Well, nowadays they would just throw. If you're playing that team, just throw it 45, 50 times. Like, it's how can you handle the pass rush? Is really, you'd eliminate their strength. Is what I'm saying. So, the point I'm trying to get at is, this defense is completely different than those defenses, but this defense is for the now. It's a great secondary, good linebackers who are very active, and for the most part, the linebackers are very experienced, and the defensive line is good.
Yeah.
And they don't have to worry about the run because no one's going to run the ball 25, 30, 40 times on them.
Right.
Not going to happen.
That's not, that's not the
Yeah.
NFL anymore.
Right.
Yeah. And it's funny because they keep talking about the schemes and everything, and you wonder, we were all talking at the beginning of the year, who's actually running the defense? And is this Mayo? Is this Belichick getting back into it more? Is it a combination? I don't know, but it's just
Is it
funny
Belichick
for a team,
the younger?
This is a team that doesn't have a defensive coordinator title guy, yet they got one of the best defenses in the NFL and the best defense anyone's seen in years. And they're doing these things that are just people can't tell. They don't know what they're doing. No one can tell what they're doing.
Right.
I mean, you know what I think it is? I think it's a hybrid of all. I think it's kind of like the defensive coordinating triumvirate. It's basically you've got Mayo and you've got Steve Belichick that are running the majority of it, and then Bill is up top kind of overseeing it. You saw that one cutaway they showed in the Monday night game where he was just there with the whole defense talking to him.
Right.
And it's more of an overseeing. I don't think he's individually calling plays. I think he has enough confidence, at the very least, he has enough confidence in his son, Steve, who looks like he's already kind of quickly turning into the clone of, he's the son of Belichick, but he really is in every way. I think he's just
McDaniels, watch out. That job you thought you might get, you might not.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, maybe to that point. And then Mayo, of course, is, just only a couple of years removed from playing on that defense. And so, I think, it's a good combination of guys. You have a former player, and then you have, the son of a legendary head coach kind of all combining there, whatever you want to call it, the Holy Trinity on defense, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Mayo. I don't know. Whatever you want to call it, but it's amazing. But, here's another thing, too. Okay, so going into the Monday night game, you're going into that game against the Jets, and I'm thinking, okay, well, the Patriots aren't facing Luke Falk this time, so it should be a little bit, the Jets should give them a little bit more of a challenge. Sam Darnold coming off an impressive win against Dallas the week before.
Yes.
As he's recovering from his mono, and he's back out there. Looks like he's back at full strength. And the Patriots just absolutely overwhelmed him to the point, and I actually did have a fun slide on this. I had a picture of one from the game, Darnold reacting when he was saying, "I'm seeing ghosts." We don't have that picture, unfortunately. There's Brady.
Why not?
See, I said the word picture. That's what it was. They heard the word, "Let's see a picture." But that's not
why
the
don't we
picture
have it?
Because it went into my fried thumb drive.
Oh, the fried.
Remember the fried?
Oh.
No, you know what happened?
What is that story?
No, you know what it is? I think the ghosts. The head of Sam Darnold, who I think will probably not want to get mic'd up again in the future by NFL film.
Yeah, that's going to go down like the butt fumble. Jets history as far as real bonehead plays.
Well, right, and the whole Jets Patriots history in the Brady Belichick era too.
Yeah.
But I mean, think about it. I mean, a 3.7 quarterback rating. If you did not hear or did not check out the box score, that was Darnold's quarterback rating, 3.7. Which I think is higher than my GPA was in college.
The rush was phenomenal. They had a great rush that game.
Well, that was the thing too. Like I was watching post game on NFL Network, and the guys doing the post game work were like, with a guy like, when you play the Patriots type defense, a great defense, you have to have checkdowns all the time because they're going to blitz and they're going to blitz from different spots. And so when you do that, you have a hot receiver every play. The Jets didn't have a hot receiver on any play. They just ran their offense and whatever. And so when the Patriots blitz and they get picked up, it was a sack, or Darnold is just throwing the ball.
Well, that's the thing.
Panicking and just throwing the ball.
I think he thought the Jets were wearing white that game.
Yeah.
That might have been the ghosts he was. Well, the ghosts, Patriots were wearing the white jerseys.
Yeah.
Those were the ghosts he was probably seeing, of course. But the fact he was just so rushed that whole game. I mean, the Patriots were running these zero blitzes. That's not something they've been really doing to most opposing quarterbacks this year. But they thought they'd throw that at Darnold, and he couldn't handle it at all. I mean, he threw 4 interceptions, fumbled 2. I mean, he was just, like you say, he was a hot mess. A 3.7 quarterback rating is about as low as you could get.
I heard that yesterday that if you just took the ball and spiked it 30 times into the ground, you'd have like a 6 pass rating.
Wow, that's interesting.
So, anyways, yeah.
It goes back to, I guess that guy Falk had a better quarterback rating against the Patriots than Donald did.
He did,
true.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the Jets actually, scored some points in that game. Granted, it might have been their defense and special teams that allowed them to get those points, but they still were able to score some. I mean, that's 2 shutouts now for this defense, too. And the Jets, Monday night looked like they had no chance to have any resemblance of coming close to scoring just because of... all these looks. I mean, this defense looks like it can be something special. Now we can probably go to the picture of Brady because I'll work in the Brady talk here, whereas Tom Brady is kind of in a role this year where he's almost being more of a game manager, kind of like the early years of Brady, even that first Super Bowl against the Rams.
The end years of Peyton Manning?
Yeah, well, probably at least unlike Manning in those end years, Manning was like falling apart. His shoulder was about to drop. Yeah. I mean, Brady's still healthy, so he's... got that. But, Brady's trying to adjust to this role. I mean, we heard some talk this week about Brady and, maybe some hints were dropped that, it's like, we're kind of switching the subject to Brady. I mean, what do you think? I mean, I'm almost convinced now, based on a couple of the stories I've read this week, that I think he is either going to come back to the Patriots next year or he's going to retire. I think this talk that he may go somewhere else, even though he's put his house on the market and his trainers put his house on the market and all that. I think it's going to be, and it may have a lot to do with how this season goes for the Patriots as a team, whether, Brady is able to win a 7th Lombardi, and maybe that would be good enough for him to just say that's a good way to go out.
Where is he going to go that he's going to be able to walk into a play? What other team is a Tom Brady away from winning a Super Bowl? That's the way you got to look at it. So is he going to say, let me pick up everything and just go somewhere else and hope that we can build something? He's not into building anymore. He's already built. So why would he go anywhere else to start again? I don't see it happening,
That's what it'd be.
I can see him retiring.
Right, and plus you have to figure in there's teams that already have their veteran quarterback that they're paying $20+ million a year.
And the teams that don't have one.
And then there's teams that already have their young guy that was there, like in Arizona and other places, Cleveland. Exactly. So I actually wrote it down. There's probably about 6 or 7 teams that he could go to. Denver, they actually drafted a young kid. Tennessee.
There's the Vrabel relationship, maybe.
Right, but why would he go? Why was he going to pick up and go to Tennessee for 2 years? Tampa Bay. Is he going to go to Tampa Bay? Carolina. If they get rid of Cam Newton, which they probably are.
But the way this guy's playing, Allen's playing, I think they found their Brady.
Correct.
As far as what happened.
Well, at least they found someone they feel confident in for the immediate future.
But is he going to go to Carolina? Giselle, we're going to South Carolina for 2 years. What? She's going to be like, Tommy, I'm not going. That's my Giselle voice, in case everyone was wondering.
Okay.
She's not going like that. So really, what is it? Yeah. Where can he go to? Plus, they're going to have to guarantee 2 years, probably $30 million a year, which a lot of teams could do. And lastly, he doesn't like to throw to young guys or new guys. He's going to go to Tennessee, whole new. They're going to do his playbook. He's not going to learn their playbook.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
So now he's got to go. Now he's got 5 receivers, 3 tight ends, and 4 running backs that have to learn. They have to get on the same page as him. Right. How long is that going to take? He's not going to want to do that. He doesn't want to do it with Jacoby Myers for, and that's only 1 receiver.
And possibly Harry.
I know the only other talk there was that he goes someplace to fill some seats, like a San Diego, well, the Chargers, the LA Chargers, or I know they even said the Raiders, and I found that hard to believe, to open up their new stadiums, but I can't see him doing that either.
Why would he do that?
I don't think he would. I could see them wanting to bring him in, but I can't see that he would want to do that.
Right, why would he do that? He can get that here.
Yeah, both teams are terrible.
I'll throw one more plus at you. Just the fact that Brady, obviously he's a smart guy. I think he can see around. The last 2 Sundays the Patriots haven't played. Perhaps I'm sure maybe Brady's spending quality time with his family, but he might also be flipping on and catching a little bit of some of these other games. He knows what's going on around the rest of the league, and the point is, even though him and Belichick don't always see eye to eye, and there's probably times where Bill drives Brady up an absolute wall, Brady looks out there and sees the rest of the league and the quality of the coaching out there and just realizes that. Now, maybe you could say, I guess you could come back at me and say, well, Brady at this point is kind of he's like Manning in the later years. He's his own coach and he'd be calling the shots anyway. Yeah. But again, I think to kind of both your points, that do they really, does he want to come, does he want to reintroduce himself into a whole new offense, all new players, a different system,
and
whatever?
What team wants to have him come in and just say, this is what we're going to do? Because to do that, you have to have all the right people around you.
Plus, you you might not have the right receivers or tight ends or running backs. Yeah. Even though they might be good players, it just might not fit into what they're going to do. Plus, how
many good plays have come here and didn't make it?
Right. Plus, what's important too is the offensive coordinator needs to call the right play as often as possible. Now, Brady will always check out of it, but you don't want to have an offensive coordinator calling plays, and 80% of the time, Brady's just checking out of it because it's like, this play isn't working at this play wouldn't work at this time. So he's not going somewhere. It's impossible. If he does, I just don't think he'll do well.
I'd be shocked.
It's a long shot.
Yeah. This just came to me right now as a question to throw out to you guys to say, under this possibility, could this happen? What if, going back to an earlier point, we said, you kind of joked about it, Josh McDaniels, the Patriots' job may not be yours. Mm-hmm. Say something crazy happens this offseason and McDaniels takes a job somewhere else.
Okay, where?
I don't even know. I'm just saying, let's just say a job opens up and amazingly he interviews and decides he wants to go, whatever. Yeah. Under that possibility, given the bond with McDaniels and Brady.
Well, it would be good because guess who has an out this year in his contract? Garoppolo.
Garoppolo has an out in his contract?
Yeah.
We knew about Brady's out.
He can come back.
No, he doesn't have the out. The team can cut him. He does not.
I don't think Kyle Shanahan's gonna. I mean, look at the way the Niners are playing right now. They're one of only 2 undefeated teams in the league.
Right.
With the
you
Patriots.
Sure about that?
I'm positive.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm positive. They can get rid of him, but he can't. He can't leave.
That kind of makes more sense to me.
Correct.
I don't think there's any chance the Niners would be looking to get rid of Garoppolo. I mean.
No,
I'm saying if he had an out though, he could get out.
And then bring Brady to San Francisco. He could play for the team he rooted for in his childhood.
Sure.
I mean, if there was ever another team that Brady would want to play for, it'd be the team of his childhood hero, Joe Montana. I mean, that would be. I'm not even. But even then, I mean, I don't know.
I just think it would be too much. I mean, he is too systematic to pick up and start all over again somewhere else. Like you said, new receivers, new offensive coordinator, new. No.
How about sorry.
Well, I'll be quick. Okay. He's just not going to go to another team and do their offense. No. Because the Patriots offense with Tom Brady is one of the best. I don't know if it's the best offense ever, but it's the most consistent offense ever.
Yeah. It's
18 years. It's 20 years.
Yeah. It's a system that's worked.
Maybe San Fran's. I guess San Fran's would be up there, but.
Do you guys think that maybe one part of the frustration that Brady's been experiencing this year, and I know some of it's because Antonio Brown was here, then he wasn't, and Demaryius Thomas was here briefly, and he and Brady got along, and then he was gone.
Yeah, gave him a present.
Right. Yes, exactly. By the way, Demaryius was only 3 of 9 on targets. Obviously, again, he had Darnold. Darnold saw ghosts. He couldn't see Demaryius too much through all the ghosts.
Well, he had a couple drops too. Anyway.
Do you think some of the frustration on Brady's part is that he already maybe knows in the back of his mind that he's probably thinking he might be like 51%, I'm retiring after the season, and the frustration is that he just doesn't want it to end like this.
And like what?
They're undefeated?
18-1?
I know. Yeah.
You know?
What do you mean?
They're undefeated. What's going wrong? Yeah.
They're third
No, I know,
scoring,
but yet he's frustrated.
and
Well, I mean,
he's played with the best defense
he's
ever
not
had.
running the kind of offense that he would. I mean, he's a 42-year quarterback. I'm not
I was
saying.
going to say, could his frustration be from the fact that his age is starting to catch up to him?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's not easy.
Yeah,
Like, it's not easy, like...
He can't throw those
Right,
long passes.
right.
He can't
It's not
hit
fun
those.
for anyone to get old, really.
Instead of completing 70, 71%, he's completing 65%. Like, literally, that's what the...
Right, I know.
You know, that's the diff
The
between what
bar
he's doing.
for Brady is just so much higher than
But
for
I
the
mean,
rest of us mere humans.
I mean, how many passes have you seen that were behind guys now and a little lower, that you didn't see before? I mean, that's that part of his frustration.
And part of it, too, is like he's thrown it away. Like, he's just getting rid of it. Whereas back in the day, I think his major frustration is his offensive line.
Right.
Doesn't protect him that extra split second longer. Like, so now it's like 2 or 3 times.
And he can't move as quick as he used to. Not
exactly.
that he was ever quick.
And he doesn't want to get hit. I mean, no quarterback wants to get hit, but
Yeah.
you know, him and Peyton.
The only
Manning
time he
were
got hit
awesome.
really hard, he missed a whole season.
Yeah.
You know, you can argue that, 11 years ago. It's, he doesn't want to go through that. You're right. I mean, he doesn't want to.
Yeah, like he just. I think in the back of he has seen perfection as far as like what he wants, which is a really good offensive line. And guys that can get open, that know the offense, that can get open, and I can just throw it to them. He sped up a little bit because his offensive line isn't that good. The receivers aren't 100% what he wants. It's only like 86% what he wants. And maybe Jacoby Myers and N'Keal Harris will get better and so on and so forth. So, and they don't have big play capability, really?
Yeah.
I mean, their running backs don't run to daylight, and their receivers don't. Their receivers are great at like just getting open, getting that mid-range catch.
Look at that
and,
opening drive
you know,
against the Jets.
that's
16
perfect.
plays. It was great. It took up 8 minutes, but it was like dink and dunk. And and Brady's good at that.
Right.
He's been good at that.
And it's funny, as some of these other guys, though, I mean, they don't have big play capabilities, but when they were playing with Stidman in the preseason,
Stidham, Jared Stidham, yeah.
I mean, Jacoby Myers looked like an all-world, like he was going to be great. I mean, is part of their lack of production due to the fact that they are more ad-libbing, and if you're not exactly at the hash mark in 2.7 seconds and I throw the ball, you know what I mean?
That's all Brady
That's
wants.
all Brady
That's all Brady
wants.
wants. He
But I'm
doesn't
saying
want anything else.
maybe these other guys, though, have more talent than we know.
Well, I mean, I think we've seen it
but-
with Jacoby Myers the last couple of games. He's had 7 or 8 catches now. So I think there's
He's
something.
actually had 8. No, 9. He might
Right.
have
The
9.
reality is that best case scenario, Jacoby Myers is this year's Malcolm Mitchell. And Mitchell himself, I mean, was good for 3
that was
or
a
4
sad
catches
story.
a game.
Yeah. He
Okay,
was,
no, the
think
ending,
about it.
yes,
The
but
ending,
then
yeah.
also remember in that Super Bowl when they didn't have
If it wasn't for him, they wouldn't have come back.
Exactly. But even in that Super Bowl, he only caught 4 passes. I mean, but that's what he was. He just caught 3 or 4 passes a game. He was steady. He wasn't doing anything flashy. And if Brady and Myers can get on that page, I think we'd all take that.
He was Bernie Cabo of the Game 6 of the Red Sox.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
sure.
now the big thing. I mean, we're overlooking it. It's how when something's not in your brain, you forget about it. But like,
That's a lot of things.
Gronk was their big play guy. Not that he'd get 40 yards a catch, but he would catch that seam pass 8 yards, and if they didn't tackle him right away, he'd get 6, 8 yards more. Well, that's a 14, 16-yard play. They don't have that from their linebacker anymore.
Plus, he was a
That's
safety valve.
gone.
He was a safety valve.
Yeah.
He always
and
could do
then
that.
at the goal line, they could get the easy, maybe the easy. Now they're getting the touchdown on 3rd and 4th down, and they're kind of running it in. So it's like 4 or 5 different things that aren't quite what he wants, and I think it's just agitating him, and it's creating the frustration.
Yeah.
That's why I think.
Well, and what about the blocking ability of Gronkowski too? Where they're missing that because the offensive line is a patchwork job. Wynn's not at left tackle. You got Newhouse there. Let me ask this: the trading deadline's in a few days. Could the Patriots? I mean, do you think Belichick's on the phone now trying to see if he could find? Is there any kind of left tackle out there that's an upgrade over Newhouse or possibly Wynn that the Pats might be trying to swing a deal for there? Because that might be like the only other missing piece if you want to try to alleviate a little bit of Brady's frustration.
Yeah, that Newhouse has been horrendous. You know, he just every time we watch a game, it's like he's always leaking. He's leaking guys.
Yeah.
They're always coming in, and you know, it's just I just don't see anything good, and I don't know. And Wynn, I'm starting to be worried about. 2 years in a row, he's out hurt, injured. You know, so yeah, they need Trent Brown back.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing with Wynn is, I feel like he's coming back. Maybe I'm just wishful
hope so.
thinking. Yeah, maybe I'm just like really wishful thinking. But I just feel like he's going to come back.
No, I think they're
Like
anticipating. I don't think his injury was that serious.
Right,
I
his
think they
injury
do.
wasn't season-ending or threatened of season. Like usually when you get hurt, it's like, all right, you're out X amount of weeks, maybe you come back. But if it's season-ending, they say it's season-ending. And if they say it's potentially season-ending, they say it's potentially season-ending. They didn't say that with Wynn.
With him,
So
they
that's
said
why I
he'll
think
be
he's
back
coming
in 8
back.
weeks, yeah.
At some point he'll be
And
back.
if the trade deadline passes and the Patriots don't make any more moves, then I think you know that Wynn is coming back, because I just can't see them wanting to
Maybe
rely
they can
on
get
Newhouse.
a left tackle for Bennett.
Rest. Maybe a 1-for-1 trade. You don't see any of those anymore, right? I think, and maybe the Patriots might have been one of the last teams to do that. You know, the Brissett for Dorsett swap.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You know,
That's
there was
right.
that. There was also the
did the-
LeGarrette Blount and Tim Wright was the tight end I think they traded for back
Wasn't it the
with Tampa?
Wasn't it the what's his name? The guard. I'm not good with names anymore. Who's the great guard he had?
Mankins?
Mankins.
Oh, Mankins.
Was it
It might have been
Mankins for the tight end?
yeah, I think that's who it
Yeah,
was. Yeah,
yeah.
I think that was it. But you're right. Every other trade you see, and a lot more teams are trading now. All of a sudden, the NFL trade deadline is of
It's going to
some
be
interest.
awesome. I think it's because.
I mean, the 49ers
I think it's
made
really
it.
exciting now. There's
Yeah.
going to be way more trade. There used to never be trades.
Emmanuel
Never.
Sanders, who was
Right.
talking about being a possible Patriot, is now with the Niners.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough.
Yeah.
I think part of it is I looked at Sanu's contract and
Sanu's locked up for next year too.
he is, and his cap number each of the 2 years, this year and next, is smaller.
$6 million.
Yeah, and it was about $10 million for Sanders, although it was only for this year, so it would have been prorated. But I think part of it was trying to fit him under the.
Belichick's always playing the long game. Always. He plays the long
Rutgers
game.
guy, too, and Sanu.
Right. He plays the long game
Trick
all the
play
time.
guy.
Yeah. And then-
McDaniels is going trick plays.
now they can-
He's done some quarterback.
Right.
Yeah, now they can have
Right.
the double quote. They get Brady to Edelman, back to Sanu, back to.
Oh, I like. Yeah, there you go.
Exactly.
Like the
You know?
four-way pass.
Right.
Like just keep
Right.
passing it backward and then fire the bomb deep downfield. Of course, who's going to be there to catch it downfield? Is the other.
yeah, well,
you
Won't
know,
be Josh Brown.
No, it won't be.
Josh Gordon,
Josh
excuse
Gordon.
me.
Right, but
Or Antonio Brown. I guess I had them both together.
I'm like,
yeah,
yeah,
it won't.
well.
It won't be any hybrid
Right.
of any of those
Right.
receivers. They're
Right.
all gone. But anyway, yeah. So, well, I mean, you know, what do you think about just looking ahead for this week? I mean, this Cleveland game. Cleveland's coming off a bye, but. You know, the Patriots have won 20 straight games against first and second year quarterbacks,
Wow.
of which we kind of forget, but Baker Mayfield is still, like Darnold is a second year quarterback. So, yeah, I mean, you know, obviously they were in the same draft class. And, you know, obviously Mayfield, after a hot start, has really cooled off. I mean, the best he looks right now is on those Progressive commercials. But other than that,
I think maybe that's part of why he's not looking so good. He spent too much time doing commercials.
I mean, in some ways, when you look at how Mayfield's been playing and you look at the head coach for the Browns on the other side of the field there, Freddie Kitchens, I mean, it could be another hot mess on Sunday. All of a sudden, I'm thinking this game could look a lot like the game on Monday night did.
Yeah, they had a lot of expectations to fill at the beginning of the year, Cleveland.
Right, and they,
And
you know,
I
that's a
think
team,
that,
right? They weren't ready to meet them, apparently.
And it's only a matter of time before Beckham blows up. I mean, he's got to be this
Because he's
close.
not getting the ball,
Yeah,
right?
he's got to be that
Yeah.
close.
I mean,
you know, so
what I'm really excited about this game is Cleveland's offensive line and New England's offensive line are the weakest parts of their offense. The defensive line for Cleveland is very good. So they're going to put a lot of pressure on the Patriots. I didn't say Brady, I said the Patriots, because the Patriots will scheme as much as they can scheme to keep the pressure off Brady. Whether it's just dumping it off, quick passes, tight end screens, you know, just getting it out of his hand as quickly as possible. Whereas Cleveland and Freddie Kitchens they haven't done that in the first 7 weeks. It's just 5-step drop, 7-step drop. Oh my God, the rush is on me, and then what's his name? The quarterback just takes off, and then he just throws it away or throws an interception. So Cleveland had a week off. Did they address that or not? We're going to find that out because the Patriots are definitely going to put pressure on them. They're not going to not put pressure on them. So I want to see that. That's for sure.
Again, 20 straight wins by the Patriots. A lot of that I think is the coaching, and the defense, but the coaching is a big part of that.
If I'm Baker Mayfield and I watch that game Monday night, I'm not going to be too happy.
Right, and the other thing is, if you're looking at that, if you're Mayfield, you're looking at that game and thinking, okay, well, I'll try to look out for those plays. Well, you're not going to see those same kind of. You're going to see totally different defensive calls by the Patriots.
Yeah, you're going to see you're going to see goblins. See, ghosts. Now we're going to see goblins.
There you go.
Since it's almost Halloween,
That's right.
And then we'll have witches and warlocks the week after.
How many people are going to dress as ghosts in the stands? And they're going to show it on TV. I say at least 4 different times.
If you're going
somebody different.
Yeah. What about for the next Jets game? The next Jets game, they're on the road.
Well,
True.
next year, yeah.
Yeah, next year.
They're done playing the Jets already.
Yeah, but no, I'm saying the next Jets game on the road. Whoever they play, like if they go into Baltimore or Chicago, whatever. You don't think their fans are all going to come out
They're at
dressed
Miami.
like ghosts?
I think they're at Miami.
Well, if you're traveling as a group to Gillette Stadium this week, why doesn't one of you dress up as Darnold and everyone else dresses up as a ghost, and then you just got to play that?
True.
It's like a little sketch comedy thing. You do the I'm seeing go. I'm Sam Darnold. Put your fireman Ed's hat on or whatever. But what's interesting too? The next 2 weeks leading up to the Patriots bye, the 2 teams they're facing, home to Cleveland, then at Baltimore on a Sunday night. Both of those teams are going to be coming off byes when they face the Patriots. They're going to both have had 2 weeks to prepare for the Patriots. Is it going to matter?
No.
And I guess my next question is, looking at the schedule, where do you guys now see the potential for the first loss of the?
And I just hope I hope it gets to it. I don't want this year to come down to another one of those undefeated, set the record forever. I mean, that builds too much pressure. That did the last time.
Right.
And you could slowly see toward the end.
But see, they've learned their lesson now, right?
No, it's a whole new group of guys.
There's only like one.
Just Brady and Belichick.
There's only one player left.
No, I don't want that. I do not want them to go undefeated into the playoffs. I want them to lose somewhere, just to let them know that they can lose, because there's too much pressure in that. I'm sorry. There is.
It definitely was in the Giants game, but it also was in the Giants game.
Because they almost lost to the Giants the first time.
Right, but you got to remember why.
talking about the regular
because
season.
the Giants had a great 4-man rush. That's why they almost lost in the regular season, and that's why they lost Super Bowl. Nothing else. It wasn't Eli Manning. Nope. It wasn't their running game. It wasn't their pass game. It was nothing.
It wasn't even the catch.
It was just 4 guys that could get to Brady without blitzing. And that's
the Patriots had a good left tackle then, too.
Right, and that's the best way to slow down Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and any great quarterback. Rush 4 guys, get pressure on them. As soon as you rush the 5th guy, well, now there's a blitz, you're playing man-to-man. There's a hole somewhere. They know how to get to the hole. So that's what it is. I don't think Baltimore's. I like Baltimore. I don't love Baltimore.
Impressive win at Seattle last week. I was watching a good chunk of that game.
Seattle's team isn't really that good. They're not that good.
Yeah, but they're still pretty good at home. I mean,
Are they? They beat Cincinnati by 1. They lost to Baltimore.
Okay.
They lost to the.
Okay, so they have trouble.
They
with
lost
the
to
AFC
somebody.
North at home.
They lost to. I can't think of the other team they lost to.
Yeah.
And they beat the Rams by 1
they're not playing
when
well
Greg
at
the
home.
leg.
They're not playing good at home.
They should be 0-4 at home.
Yeah. Okay. Then.
But anyway, they don't stink. They're a team that.
They're not the Seattle from years
all
past.
Russell Wilson.
Understood, right?
all
No,
Russell
that I
Wilson.
understand, but I still expect them to be able to beat a Baltimore team at home. But they didn't.
Baltimore's not that bad. Their quarterback isn't that bad.
No,
either.
they're not.
He was awesome.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson was awesome last week.
And he's a two-way, right? I mean, he can beat you with his legs and his arm. I
Right.
get
So
it.
you know what Belichick's going to do? They're going to do the mush rush. They're not going to even they're not going to pressure him, but they're going to stay in their lanes and make him throw for 275 to 300 yards, and hopefully he won't run.
By the way, after the bye week, if it's not Baltimore, then it's going to be one of the next 4 games. At Philly, home to Dallas, at Houston, home to Kansas City. It's got one of those 5. That's going to be your loss, because the other games, Cleveland this week, and then Cincinnati, Buffalo, Miami to wrap up the season.
I think that they can lose to
losing any of
Dallas.
those.
I think they can lose to Dallas if they're healthy. If Dallas is healthy, their offensive line's great. They got a great running
Dallas
back.
game home?
Yes.
Yes. The Philly game, I'm not that worried about them. their defense.
I know
is
Philly
slow.
all of a sudden.
It's slow.
Even Dallas ran all over them, and then of course Dallas lost to the Jets though.
They don't have cornerbacks.
First time I ever rooted for the Jets.
No transitive. By the way, transitive property does not work at all in the NFL.
No, not at all.
It's just
not
it
at all.
doesn't.
Because it's about matchups. It's about scheming and matchups and planning. And I don't know. Kansas City is probably
Houston.
Because Mahomes will be back by then.
Plus Houston too.
Because of the Bill O'Brien familiar and
Deshaun Watson.
You have to have a good enough defense.
Even Watson's
they've been up and down, but they are a team that could, if they're up. And you know that's the game they're going to really be up for, because how many times have they gotten slapped down by the Patriots? So you know that they would love nothing better than to beat the Patriots.
Yeah.
And
Bill O'Brien is their head coach.
And the game's at Houston.
Yeah, and getting Tunsil at left tackle.
It's a Sunday night game.
So don't that's gonna be a tough game.
It's, by the way, also the only time this year, at least in the regular season, the Patriots are traveling outside of the Eastern time zone.
Yeah.
And in fact, if they finish as the number 1 seed, well, then they're going to be home all the way through the Super Bowl, which is in Miami.
Kansas City's on the Eastern time zone. Oh, it's Kansas City's here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they have. It's a quirky,
that could be the only game, because if they finish with the 1 seed, and they'll be home, and the Super Bowl's in Miami, all Eastern time zone.
Right.
So this would be the Houston trip will be their only one outside of the.
Not a lot of miles on that plane
compared to other years. For sure.
And Howie, to get your point about Houston, if they didn't get Larry Tunsil, New England would beat Houston, because their offensive line is not that good. But they got Larry Tunsil. They put him. He's a great left tackle. He is a great left tackle. They gave up 2 number 1s for him because he's great. So he solidified their offensive line. They put the left tackle over at right tackle.
So why do they need Nick Caserio to make decisions there? No.
Right.
Right.
So they're just now they can protect Deshaun Watson, and he's good. And what's his name is a great receiver. They have 2 other good receivers when Will Fuller's healthy. Like they can put stuff together. They're scary.
Was it Hopkins? DeAndre Hopkins?
Yeah, I always forget his name. DeAndre Hopkins. So, and they run the ball good enough. So you have all that stuff to at least make the Patriots make plays. But if they didn't have the left tackle, it'd be Katie by the door. Deshaun Watson just would be running around. He got sacked, I think, 1 or 2 times in the first game. Tunsil came back, and he didn't get sacked for 2 games after that. And I don't know what happened in Indy. I know Indy won and Houston did okay on offense, but I don't know if he got sacked or not. Point being is he's getting back and being able to look over the field and throw it.
Well, there's still, again, Houston's only 4-3. Let me just, let's wrap up football talk with who right now do you think is the Patriots' biggest threat in the AFC? Amongst some of these teams.
Injuries.
Themselves, yeah.
I mean, Kansas City.
Colts.
No, Kansas City. Kansas City, with Mahomes healthy. Okay. Now, if he doesn't get healthy, if he's just back there and he can't run around.
He was practicing today, I guess, reports were out. I get it.
Again, I'll just give you 2 words. Andy Reid.
True.
4 words. Andy Reid, time management.
True.
So,
this is the long-going debate on sports radio. It's Belichick and all the other coaches in the NFL are below the floor. That's where they're at. But
just the fact that Andy Reid seems to fold when at the time is biggest, when the lights are the brightest, he seems to fold.
Frank Reich, rookie, might be an inexperienced coach, but the guy knows something about comebacks.
How to win,
He knows how to come back in the playoffs too, when it looks impossible.
Thing with Andy Reid, he's got 200 wins.
Yeah,
he's like 15th or 17th in the history of the NFL in coaching wins.
What? But how many of them are big playoff games?
Right.
How many of them are for championships?
Zagorowski.
Yeah. And speaking of milestones really quick, Belichick, between regular season and playoffs, is going for his 300th career win this Sunday against, appropriately enough for him, I think, Cleveland. Yeah. And I also say it'd be kind of a coming full circle, because his first regular season win and his first playoff win as a head coach were with Cleveland against the Patriots.
New England, I know that.
So this would be a kind of way to complete the circle.
Yeah.
That's why the Patriots won't lose this week anyway. But all right.
I would be really disappointed if this was the game that they lost.
Yeah.
All right. I promised to myself we were not going to go 2 full months of shows talking nothing but Patriots in the NFL. So we are going to talk about something else, and it's because it's almost halftime at the down in Philly where the Celtics are kicking off their season, and I think there is some reason for some optimism here. Celtics, I believe.
Blowing up. So.
Yeah, Celtics are now trailing right at the half. Hey, so for those of you switching over.
Sixes.
Yeah, right. 49-48 Philadelphia. Welcome to the halftime show here. Because you don't need to watch those guys on, Charles Barkley, come on, he is so overrated. My panel here knows so much more, and I can do Ernie Johnson. Let me get a vest.
I'd like to see what this is all about. My phone, one of the things that blew up on there says that, is it here? Bennett addresses team suspension. This was 6 minutes ago. It's America. You can voice your opinion how you feel. I'd like to read the rest of that as soon as we're off the air.
What, Bennett got suspended?
No. He addressed his suspension.
Oh, right, because he
missed
right.
6 minutes ago.
Okay.
He just did something 6 minutes ago.
Okay.
So I'll have to read that as soon as we're off the air.
Well, anyway, that's Howie Kenny Smith McClellan there, and we got Dave Charles Barkley flew.
Well, I just think
Just don't call me Stephen A. Smith.
Oh, I would screaming A. No, I would never do that to you. No, I think the games are on. I don't know who's doing the games tonight. Actually, might be. Well, of course, locally it'd be Tommy.
I think it's on ESPN.
Tommy, but it is ESPN.
I saw it. Yeah.
Oh well, so much for those TNT guys. Anyway, so. I mean, what do we think? The expectations of the Celtics' upcoming season here have gone way down. Kyrie's gone, Horford's gone, but I look at this team and I think there's some potential there. With you got Kemba Walker in. I know Howie, you're excited because you get to recycle your Walker number 8 jersey.
Yep.
Kemba Walker, it was Antoine Walker 20 years
Is he wearing
ago.
8?
Yeah.
He's wearing 8. Yeah.
That's why I can bring that shirt back out. It's a current edition now. Walker 8.
He's my least favorite.
Kemba Walker?
No.
Antoine.
Antoine, my least favorite Celtic.
Oh, didn't that wiggle get you?
Ever. Ever. Sidney Wicks included, Curtis Rowe included.
No. You can't go there. Can't go there.
I can't go to that
I
either.
hated Antoine Walker.
Yeah, but the thing is, I can wear the shirt again.
He was literally below average at everything, and he was our superstar, supposedly. Remember, go back and look at YouTube, his 3-point shots. He was the worst. Only he kept shooting them.
No. Now, you really never saw Sidney Wicks and Curtis Rowe play for the Celtics.
I did. I was a little boy, but I did.
I bet you Antoine Walker could beat Marcus Smart in a 3-point shooting contest. Well, in their prime.
I'll take Marcus
Smart's getting better.
I'll take Marcus Smart.
Smart's getting better.
I guess he is. Okay, well, speaking of Smart in the current group.
Actually, I think they're going to surprise a lot of people. I think this is just what they need to be under the radar. Mm-hmm. I think Walker's going to make a big addition. Isn't it kind of surprising that poor Al Horford said if he had known that Kyrie was going and Walker was coming, he would have liked to stay.
But it sounds like he would have had to take a massive pay cut to do it.
No, he wasn't going to do it. The Patriots, the Celtics offered him either a one-year extension
this is why
or
we don't
didn't.
Like to do football all the time.
And Philly offered him a 4-year deal. Are you kidding me?
Well, of course, right? And the Celtics weren't going to offer that kind of money.
Celtics offered him 3.
Yeah, but it was for half the money that Philly was offering.
Right.
Yeah, but he made a point to say that he would have liked to have stayed if he had known Walker was going to be coming. So in other words, a lot of his dissatisfaction was because of the Kyrie Irving thing. And then what I was getting at is, I think now that he's gone, I think you're going to see a lot better team harmony, and I just think the team's going to play a lot better this year.
Right, but Horford's wife, when he brings the contracts to it, Horford's wife would say,
right.
4 years in Philly, that's where we're going.
That aside, but that wasn't the big point.
There was an article today.
What I'm saying is, it's the fact that I think there's a lot more togetherness now, and I think he would have liked to have been part of that, as opposed to he felt he left because it wasn't going to be there.
He would have been a good fit with this current.
So I just think they're going to be a lot better than people think.
I think he just said it. I literally just think he just said it.
No, I think he would know, because if he's doing that, why would he diss a guy like Kyrie Irving? To just
there was an article today. I think Horford was kind of sounding some maybe not full-blown regrets, but
I
mean,
he says it's
he must have had a good time. I mean, this was a good time.
Yeah,
and the Celtics shouldn't have given him a big contract because he's got balky knees. He's getting up there in age. What they offered him is the best that they should have offered.
Exactly.
And we're not going to know how much they're going to miss Horford until probably come playoff time.
Correct.
Where I think that's where he brought all those intangibles, which they may very well miss.
Yeah.
I realize they're also going to miss him as a big man on a team that's lacking in them.
Wait till he has a little time up in Maine. Bring Taco back in the second half of the season.
Taco Tuesdays, we're getting him coming.
Yeah, we'll get him as soon as he gets a little bit more.
I think the Celtics are going to be fine for the regular season. They're going to be good. They're going to be real good.
What do you guys think about the Jaylen Brown that contract?
Yeah, I like it.
You like it?
Makes sense.
I like
Everyone wins.
I don't think you get overpaid in today's day and age and market.
Because if
no one's worth that kind of money. But in the market out there for the 4 years, I think it was worth an investment.
How much was it? 100?
125 for 4. I think
it was 115.
Yeah. 115 for 4. I think you're right.
Yeah, what's another 10 mil amongst
whatever.
people?
Yeah, it all adds up.
4 years.
But I mean, I think with the Celtics, you've got this potential where their floor is here, their ceiling is here, and to me, I think they're as high as that ceiling. To me, it all comes down to Brown and Tatum. Those two guys. They're going to determine how good this team is going to be.
Hayward too. If Hayward can get back to what he was at Utah, he could be our best player.
Yeah,
he could be. But I'm just going to say, I think if Brown and Tatum are either at the same level they were at last year, or even slip a little bit more, right? I think ultimately everything's going to be based on those two guys.
True.
Because Hayward, I think, is going to get better anyways. He's slowly coming back. Yeah. I just think, I mean, as far as this team can go, it's going to be on those two guys. I mean,
and
they're
just
your
keep
leaders
in mind
now.
too. An injury to the big Greek guy there, or a big injury to
Giannis,
Embiid, who's had bad knees his whole career.
Oh, Embiid.
Yeah, I mean, those guys go down.
And then Horford's playing 40 minutes a night again.
And the floor opens up a lot. I mean, all the teams above them are only an injury away. Correct. And that's like that in any sport. Like the Patriots, if Brady goes out. I mean, they're only injury away from becoming immortals. So if we've always said that being a champion, one of the things you need to be is healthy. You have to have a lot of good health throughout the year. You got to be injury-free, basically. So, I mean, all these other teams that have all the talent, they're only injury away from being regular.
And I think at least in the Eastern Conference, or even in the NBA as a whole, the Celtics are a pretty deep team. Yeah. Deeper than most teams. Like, I don't know if you watched any of the Lakers game last night. Their bench is not that good. Yeah. Their starters can be great.
Well, we knew they were going to have that problem once it was James and Davis.
Because they had no money left to spend on it.
And Philadelphia is the same way. I mean, they go Horford, Embiid, Simmons, Richardson.
Tobias.
And Tobias Harris, right?
Yeah, I think
that's pretty great. Those 5 don't fit together, but that's a pretty great fivesome.
Celtics are 8 or 9 deep.
But they're 6 through 15.
And some of these young draft picks, this year's draft class even, this Carson Edwards, could he be sort of like a fraction of Vinny the Microwave Johnson from the day?
Why,
I mean, we saw what he did in that
one.
We
still got the kid from the year before, Williams, that was injured.
Robert Williams, the big guy.
What do they call him?
The Watchman, not the Watchman, the Time Lord.
Time Lord,
yeah.
I mean, so I mean, there's a lot of potential there too.
Right, and if you play a lot of players, the road trips and the back-to-back nights aren't so bad. Whereas if you don't have a deep bench, they do become bad. Then becomes load management. And you got to rest guys, and the Celtics won't have to do that.
Also, does Brad Stevens have control of this team back now with Kyrie gone too? That helps a lot as well. And these guys will all kind of.
The only thing they're going to lack is a little rebounding and some height.
They're loaded on the wing, definitely.
They're loaded on the wing at center. I mean, at point guard and depth at point guard.
And Kanter's good at offensive rebounds, which is something they don't usually get a lot of.
Right, So anyway, they're going to be fine. But in the playoffs, in the East, they can definitely win a round, maybe win 2. It's going to be hard.
Thing is, what happens with Kanter when they have to go to Toronto? He can't go.
I know, right? He's going to miss those games, right?
He can't.
That's right. He's got that visa issue. But anyway, and it's also the NBA's crazy when the Clippers are talked about as the favorites. So there you go. But most of the publications are picking
Donald
up the
Sterling.
Whole thing. I know. The LA Clippers, who would have thought it? Anyway, I can see time's running out on us, so our next show, I will let you know, is coming up on November the 20th. That is a Wednesday, of course. We'll be back here. And again, as always, you can follow us on Twitter at TOSTBMC is our Twitter handle. Follow us on Facebook. Search Time Out for Sports Talk. Become a friend of the show. And we'll have the links and everything to this show, future shows. You can go back and watch some of our shows from the past, and hopefully we'll have a little bit more to talk about next month as the seasons all start to come together. Bruins off to a fast start too. That was the 10-second Bruins update.
Yeah, the Red Sox are buried.
And the Red Sox are buried. They still looking. They're still looking for a GM. Even Chris Mason's bailed. He's jumped ship from that franchise. So there you go. But Dave, always good to have you here. Good to see you.
Glad to be here.
So
Thanks for coming in, brother.
See you guys.
Howie, always good to see you. We want to thank our hard-working crew, best crew in the business over there in the control room. Thank them. Thank the folks here at Gillette for entertaining us. Something like that. Wink, wink.